What happens to all the videographers?
Is it all over? Is video creation over? Is filmmaking over?
Every video, every TikTok, every reel is going to be using this AI.
What happens to the animators?
I'm a real person. You're not going to know if I am a year from now.
I didn't say that. That's AI generated. I know it looks really realistic and sounds like me.
No one is safe from this technology.
With how fast AI is advancing, there's way too much fear surrounding the creator community. Fear of missing out, fear of falling behind, fear of being replaced entirely. And what's worse is, we have no idea what's going to happen. All we can know with absolute certainty is that things are going to change. And we can speculate all day, but I want to focus on what we can do to ensure some stability in our future as content creators. So I've made this checklist of things to focus on, so no matter what happens, you don't have to worry. And if the AI apocalypse does happen to come, you'll be ready. So ready, in fact, that not even the T-1000 could replace you. That was a Terminator thing. He can change into other people and... Okay. To understand how the checklist works, we have to talk about the problems. Now, I'm excited about this part because I really want you to hear what Hayden had to say in a video call he and I had at the end of last year. It was about a post that he had commented on Twitter. It was an ad made entirely by AI, and it was claiming to have however many views. You were like, what a garbage, lazy, boring video.
Yeah.
And this guy responded to you and he's like, stop hating, Hillier. Learn to monetize.
It just disappoints me that this type of content is encouraged, but it's because the intent of it is to maximize your monetization by not paying an editor, by not paying someone to really actually figure out how to make this work in the best way possible. Instead, you just want to use a repeatable format that kind of works, but really it means all.
Well put. So like the businesses that Hayden's talking about here, a lot of creators are falling into the same trap. And that's how we end up with ads for AI tools that can turn a 3-minute video clip into 100 pieces of short form content for $50 a month. And then one creator starts doing it and that convinces this creator to start doing it. And then this creator becomes an affiliate of the AI tool and this creator sees these creators doing it and he doesn't want to fall behind. And by the end of all these dominoes falling, we end up with a crap load of crap content on a bunch of abandoned crap channels. Up to this point, because of AI, creators have become way too focused on what will give them an edge so they can keep up. And it goes the same for the rest of the world, which, with how things are advancing, could lead to much bigger problems. So, to be thorough, we should discuss the current status of AI, what it means for us content creators, and of course, the checklist. But before we do that, I think it's best we get a little more perspective from the conversation Hayden and I had last year.
We did just have that one ad, accidental ad of that cup. Someone posted a TikTok of how their car got set on fire, but the only thing that survived was their flask. And he took it out of the car in perfect condition, shook it, and it still had ice in it. And he went, wow, it's still got ice in it. Suddenly, I now want to buy that flask. Do you think an AI can make that?
Whether that was a real thing that happened or just super clever marketing from Stanley and Mazda, who gave her a new car, by the way, it does bring up an interesting point. Things have come a long way in a year, because at the time, wait, hold on, a year? November? Things have come a long way in 4 months, because at the time I thought, no way, there's no way AI could do that. It couldn't have that much foresight, that sense of social media and why that would work. And of course, it wouldn't even look real, but then... And now I'm thinking, in a year or two, provided that AI is allowed to suggest unethical marketing techniques, it's within the realm of possibility. Now, even though my predictions about AI have been wrong so far, like most of us, I might add, we should still consider the implications, but only about content creators, please. If you start talking about politics and society and Hollywood, we'll be here all day. Although, I could see James Cameron developing his own, AI Sora type thing. I wonder what Avatar 3 would be like. Anyway, for us creators, a lot can still happen. But remember, no matter what happens, we got this. So Sora has recently been announced, the supposed be-all, end-all to text-to-video generative AI, meaning that you type what you want and it creates the video. But now, it looks real. Well, real enough, unless you're just trying to pick it apart. But a year from now, considering that we went from this to this, I mean, come on. You think it's gonna get worse? No. So, what could happen? Well, In the near future, viewers might become more picky about what they watch. As high-quality video becomes easier to create, the barrier to entry lowers. So if even the lowest value videos have high-quality footage, then the low-quality footage videos, no matter how much value they offer, won't be given a fighting chance. Basically, how I feel about audio now will become the new norm for video. If it takes less skill to become a creator, then there will probably be a lack of interest in the things that help creators improve. Like a quality camera, for one. The perfect AI camera is probably already in development right now. And it has like one button and, and voice recognition. And it probably makes my ZV-1 look like Then like a year from now, lenses could become paperweights and terms like shutter speed and aperture become a distant memory that no one can recall. Memory recall? Camera joke. Anyway, new creators would be like, just blur my background, or make my face in focus, or set me on fire. It would just be that easy, and the camera would just do all the work. Now, doing some research, I quickly found out that this thought I had, that I thought was original, it wasn't.
So I guess we can also say goodbye to stock footage.
Stock footage.
Stock video, they're done.
So let's dive a little deeper. If AI took over the stock footage industry, could stock footage become the new retention editing? I mean, when it first started showing up on YouTube, it got results. People couldn't get enough cuts and graphics and sound effects. It was like the internet's version of high-stakes TV, and people have been watching that for decades. Retention editing stayed fresh for a while, and I know it's difficult to remember, but there was a time where you didn't see it everywhere you looked, and it's because it wasn't easy to do. It had such a high barrier to entry that it took time for people to learn how to edit that way, and when they eventually did, it became the annoying trend you see today. So, it's not a stretch to say that if everyone can generate any kind of stock footage in any kind of context they want, whether by themselves or through a company like Shutterstock, who has a partnership with OpenAI, by the way, is it possible that much like retention editing, stock footage could become the new outdated editing trend? I don't know. I could see people being like, stock footage. I'm so sick of Envato. I'm so sick of Shutterstock. Expanding on that a little bit, if cinematic quality video is everywhere you look, then you're going to become desensitized to it, and viewers are probably going to start looking for something else. Fact is, as AI advances, everything becomes impressive. And when everything is impressive, nothing is. So what's a content creator to do? Well, there's no easy solution to a problem you can't pinpoint. But it doesn't mean you can't prepare for all of them, which is why I originally made this checklist for myself, to remind me of the things that I need to focus on regardless of anything else, because these are universal truths to connect to people, human beings. And the reason that that's so important is because there's only one species in our audience. Sorry, GPT.
That's okay, John, as long as it's not
Box number 1, be visible. Now, this only applies to some of you, and I get that. But if it does work for your content, and you haven't done this already, show yourself. People want to put a face to the name. That's human nature. Plus, if I know what you look like, I feel like I know you a little bit. And that's connection. Box 2. Be certain. If you think or believe something, say it with your chest. Speak with confidence. It's your belief. And if you think somebody might disagree with you, then good. People gravitate towards those who stick to their guns. Now, if you say something that ends up being wrong, like objectively wrong, then just say, my bad, I was wrong, and you move on. Viewers are human too, and if they want to watch somebody that makes a mistake, provided it's a mistake that you don't have to make an apology video for, then that's their loss. But it won't be yours, because vulnerability, it's more relatable than perfection. And a good example of this is Charlie, moist, critical, penguins. The dude, he speaks with conviction. Box 3, be a storyteller. Now, AI can tell stories, but it's no storyteller. A storyteller has a skill set that data just can't provide. It takes intuition and empathy. And once it's mastered, it becomes more than telling stories. It's like hypnotism. But for real, I love a good storyteller. My favorite is Glenn Washington. He's like a host for a couple podcasts, Snap Judgment, Spooked. It's like this paranormal one. I could listen to this dude for days. A good storyteller can have you hooked until the very last word. And by the end of the story, you don't feel like strangers anymore, Box 4, be social. Now, this one's a bit more personal. You're probably much better at this than I am, but if you go to my social media pages, my channel, you'll notice that they're pretty quiet. And it's because I get so focused on whatever project I'm doing at the time that I lose sight of interacting and being present with people on social media, and that's pretty important for a content creator. So I need to get better about managing my social media side. For example, Gary Vee, love him or hate him, has one of the coolest strategies for being socially present. He's been streaming his workdays on Twitch, and viewers love it. He just turns on the camera and then goes about his workday. People just stick around even if he doesn't talk for 3 hours. Occasionally, he'll unmute and he'll talk to chat, but I don't know. They just stick around, they talk to each other, like if it was a party where Gary Vee was sitting on the couch with his headphones in, and then every now and then he'd pop one out and say something relevant and then put it back in. It's crazy. I don't know. Viewers dig it though, so it's something to take note of. Box 5, be introspective. Dig deep into your experience, your thoughts, your feelings, because there's nothing more original than something that you personally have gone through. You know, nobody else in the world can offer that but you. You might think, it's not really important, but it is. You'd be surprised how many people will stick around if they start hearing firsthand experience. Box 6, be open to change and never stop. The best content comes through improvised creation. And what I mean by that is the creative process is malleable. It can constantly change. I can't tell you how many times I've changed a project halfway through because I learned something new. I can add more value to this, you know? I do it all the time. Like, for example, this list was going to be 6 boxes, but then I thought, hey, I got something to add. So now it's 7. I'll take the process over prompt any day. Box number 7, be human. Because nothing gives you an edge over AI like being the reason it exists. See, there are things that humans have that AI just can't have, no matter how much it advances. Well, until we have things like Data walking around, but even he had trouble with some things.
Chew!
For those that didn't get that reference, I'm old and I'm a nerd. But the point remains, the more a viewer can connect to a creator, the more resilient the creator, no matter how much the platform changes, AI or otherwise. Connection equals community, and community sticks together! Now, I mentioned this earlier, but since we're talking about connection and everything, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that a good way to start connecting to your audience is through a new editing technique I talk about right here. You might want to watch it soon and start connecting with people, because who knows? We might have androids on YouTube tomorrow.